All right, so welcome to my last Uncharted stream slash video for 2024. This is pretty much just gonna be like a different format. I'm not this obviously no actual stream this time. This is just essentially what's going to be me playing the game, talking to myself, and just treating this as a personal stream pretty much. Like I'll be talking about 2024, obviously upcoming 2025, and yeah, pretty much stuff about the game and things about myself that had been happening this year, or things I'm just thinking about it essentially, pretty much. So obviously we're not reading chat because there is no chat. So if someone thinks it's an actual stream, it isn't. It's just kind of like doing a similar format. So yeah, if you don't want to watch this, that's fine. If you want to watch it, it's gonna be the last pretty much Uncharted content I'll be making this year. I mean, it's only what two more days of this year. Yeah, well, 2.5. So I think this will probably work out pretty fun. It'll be a bit more chill as well, because like it's pretty much just me sitting in my chair talking with myself, essentially treating this like a podcast because now we're not gonna interact with anyone and stuff like that. So I'll pretty much be talking about everything I like about Uncharted 4, everything I don't like, and things that people that watch my stream or people that know me, you all know my opinions about these things, about this game and stuff like that. Like, so doing this may not be a lot of news for a lot of people, but it could just be nice for some people that don't really know much about me or people that haven't seen me in a long time, things like that. So yeah, we're gonna be playing just. I'm in King of the Hill right now. I think we're gonna get started with TDM. I'm not sure how long the video is gonna be, but I guess we'll find out. I'll upload the whole thing on YouTube either way. So like Uncharted 4 is a really good game. Like in like the baseline foundation of this game is really good. Like the animation work, the gunplay, everything feels great. That's the thing. That's the Uncharted 4's like biggest strength. It just feels good to play. Unfortunately, it kind of falls apart when you get into like anything else, like the content, the maps, the gun versatility, like co-op. There's a lot of things in this game that are strictly is not up to par, and obviously Naughty Dog abandoned this game and to work on supposedly factions too. But given the fact that they laid off about 75% of the development team in the past 8 years, I feel like Factions 2 was probably never really an actual development. And I am would be very surprised if they actually ever had it in a playable build outside of maybe like Last of Us 1 and Last of Us 2, like resources scrapped together. Because even if you look at like the roguelike mode that they have in Factions, or well, not Factions, Last of Us 2, that mode is pretty lackluster, and they've even reused a lot of the animation work for Abby for other male characters. So to me, it didn't really look like they actually had that much work put into Factions 2 at any given time. So the fact that they dropped that didn't come as a surprise to me. It was disappointing, but I feel like Naughty Dog kind of dropped the ball on that, and they don't give a shit about multiplayer anymore. Like, if you're trying to install Uncharted 4 multiplayer in 2024, it's essentially impossible to find. If you're a new player and you don't know Uncharted has multiplayer, you come to this game, you're not gonna have any clue buying the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection, have any clue that this thing even exists anymore. The only way to achieve this is by downloading the PS4 version of either Uncharted 4 or Lost Legacy. Now we're running into a lot of matchmaking issues as well when it just simply will not start a match. And that's also one of the issues with the game as well. That Naughty Dog just abandoned the game too early and never sorted the fixing. So if you get a late join now, we'll be spending the 15 minutes trying to late join the game because they didn't fix that either. So I think Naughty Dog simply does not give a shit about the multiplayer ever. Like, I mean, ever at this point in time, they don't give a shit about their legacy or their history. And the community is just like getting punched in the face for it. We're getting a swift kick to the balls here. Each and every one of us that's still playing these games. And like I'm working on the development team for Uncharted 3 as well, and the Reloaded team that's we brought back. Well, I didn't, but the people that I work with managed to bring back Uncharted 3 into a playable state. And there's a lot of people on that now. But Uncharted 3 suffers from other things. Like the base game in Uncharted 3 is very like I mean, obviously I'm looking at it from 2024 now. It's very clumsy. It doesn't feel nearly as good as Uncharted 4 does. And despite the fact that it has a lot of content, it looks good. Aiming in that game is hell. Like it is not good. Like aiming in Uncharted 4 feels so good, whereas aiming in Uncharted 3 is one of the worst things you can experience. So like even if you do like that game a lot, I think like going back to it now, you probably have an experience that may not be all too positive because it really doesn't feel that good to play, despite the fact that team objectives and all these things are in the game, like an incredible co-op experience. I'm just gonna be loading it with an HS and I'll be shy here. But ultimately, now that I'm moving on to the new game, it's cool, you know. Like we always knew that. I always been saying things that, oh yeah, clearly their intention was making a sci-fi game at one point because their predisposition to making Savage Starlight content in Last of Us 1, 2, sure, they were only comics and star cards, whatever they were in that game. But then they also added the skins here, so clearly they always were working towards making a sci-fi type game. I think the game is probably gonna be pretty good, probably a 7 out of 10. But I'm not sure if it's going to live up to the expectations. And the thing is, it looks pretty cliche. Like we've all seen, you know, this cyberpunk, synthwave, retrowave type aesthetic now. That I feel like it's kind of like outstayed its welcome a little bit, especially with Doctor Disrespect, having an aneurysm or whatever happened with him. So it's kind of like that whole thing kind of overstayed its welcome. And I'm not sure if they're not focusing on trying to make the game like a. They're not trying to make the game based around like gunfire and like spaceship stuff like that. It seems like they're making it more about like a boss type, like boss gauntlet type thing. That you're essentially gonna spend an entire game on a planet fighting different type of machines and robots with your laser sword. It doesn't look like there's that much like actual firearms in it. So yeah, we'll essentially see where it goes. But I'm expecting a 7.5 out of 10. Pretty solid game across the board, but nothing groundbreaking. And obviously, my opinion of the Last of Us 2 is also pretty well documented at this point. I think it's a solid game across the board, and I would have loved Factions 2 out of it, but the replay value, the single-player storyline, the narrative structure, the pacing of the game, it's just pretty abysmal. Playing through that game again is straight-up torture, and yeah, my biggest issue with Last of Us 2 is I don't like any of the characters in it. I feel like they're all assholes. They're all very unlikable. They're either not the same characters they've been shown to be in the past, or all new characters introduced are essentially just like selfish dickheads that don't really seem to actually have any consistent values or goals in mind whatsoever. And having the Last of Us 1 narrative reframed as the Fireflies were always the unequivocal good guys trying to like solve humanity is pretty manipulative. Because in the first game, Naughty Dog clearly didn't make the game in a way to showcase that the Fireflies were the unequivocal good guys. Clearly, they were shown to be a bit flaky and probably would have used the vaccine as an actual weapon. So, I feel like it was always a bit manipulative trying to frame the narrative as the Fireflies were the good guys. And, like, we always knew what Joel did was probably not the right thing, but we understand it completely. We played the entire game. We understand Joel's backstory. We understand his motivation. We understand his connection to Ellie. And when the Fireflies knock him out when he's trying to resuscitate an unconscious girl, and then cut her brain out of her head without her consent for that matter, and then the game telling us that, oh yeah, Ellie always wanted this to happen so she could save humanity, she never said that in the game. It's very manipulative trying to claim that we are the bad guys for siding with Joel over like emotionally resonating narrative just because, oh yeah, he did a bad thing. It was never the question of the thing that he did. The question of why he did it and how he did it. And anyone trying to portray the Fireflies as the good guys, it's not genuine. They weren't. The good guys wouldn't knock out a man trying to resuscitate an unconscious girl that almost drowned. And then not even give him the option to say goodbye. Literally, they didn't give him the option. And as they shown in Last of Us 2 as well, there wasn't really that much threat of like, they definitely could have waited, I don't know, splash some water in her face. Like, don't try to tell us that Ellie wanted this all along. I'm pretty sure if Ellie had the choice, she would have probably chosen to live. That's one of my biggest issues with that game, is I feel like it just treats its audience like idiots.
Send me a bill.
And then we also gotta talk about Naughty Dog's, like, remastered nonsense, where they keep remastering and remaking games. I know you can make the argument that this doesn't take away from their actual main development team, but I severely doubt that's true given the fact how many people they've lost for a long time, and they've also lost their multiple lead designer, of course, Robert Cogburn. They lost Christoph Balestra, and they lost essentially pretty much the CEO and pretty much everyone that was working on the team at a senior level. And at this point, it seems like Neil Druckmann is pretty much entirely Uncharted company. Which means that he clearly wants nothing to do with multiplayer because it's kind of tainted by Robert Cogburn. And the antics that we all know that he went through. I'm not going to get into more of that now, but it's about unfortunate that all these multiplayer titles that they made are just getting swept under the rug, getting no respect, and they're lying to their audience and essentially abusing our goodwill towards their titles and making more remakes and remasters to make more money that they can then make on another passion project instead of actually delivering something like Factions 2 that they actually did promise to the fan base at one point.
Like a bad habit. Bye-bye.
So, one big issue in Uncharted 4 as well is people leave all the time. I'm not sure if people are just leaving because they're angry or there's some other matchmaking problems, some network-related issues. I personally don't really disconnect from matches ever, and I don't leave games unless it's like this when nothing happens. It's just one guy. Because the game was pretty close too, 16-9. All I did was just shoot a guy in the head there and 4 of them left. And this is unfortunately a very common occurrence in Uncharted 4 that really hurts the experience because you can't really play a game on this game anymore without the match ending up 5v1 at one point. Like, this match, it's just nothing, you know? This is a nothing burger. It's like, we're eating a burger here with literally, like, no ketchup, no mustard, no bacon, no cheese. Like, we're just getting bread, essentially. And it really sucks because, as I said, the base game is really good. But the overall stuff like this is just what hurts the replayability. It's hard to just hop on a game and play on this game because everyone either leaves or you run into a speed glitch or a lag switcher. There's just a lot of fucking shit in this game, and it really hurts the game. Like, and some of these things aren't even related to the actual developers at hand. Of course, they could moderate it and ban speed glitches and lag switchers, which they don't. But when it comes to like people leaving games and just like encouraging this really toxic, vile fucking attitude, it really hurts the game. And it's unfortunate that I really want to like this game, but it's just hard to like really play it and make content from it because it's just nothing, you know? And also in the past 10 weeks, essentially, I've been playing Resident Evil 4 Remake. Like, I love that game. It's a pacing masterpiece. Like, replaying through that game is like crack. Like, it feels so good. It's like incredibly good combat loop. The original game did a lot of things better, of course, but in terms of the overall gameplay replayability, the remake is essentially perfection. Like, similar to how Dead Space is to the Dead Space remake is to the original one. It's like, it has better pacing, better replayability. It generally is designed, like, now I'm talking about Dead Space remake. It's designed in a way to make the original better, essentially, and like make up for like some plot holes, stuff like that. Like, it's really good. The remake doesn't really try to do that. The remake just tries to be an incredibly well-structured, well-paced, fun game. Like, that's it. It's really fun. It has incredible replay value. I've been playing the randomizer, and a lot of people have been doing them. I'm not sure if you've been watching, like, certain streamers, obviously Bakwa Soup, or, like, a bunch of these people. Someone just left, and the game just did not start on the best map as well. And a lot of these people have been playing it, and it's really fun. Like, so I've been watching people play, like, Admiral Baru took him 164 tries, I think, to complete the balanced combat randomizer. And it's like, very few story-driven games, or, like, games like this would ever have people playing through them, like, over 100 times to complete them. Like, obviously, they didn't complete the whole game, but just keeping going, you know? Like, it's such an incredibly fun game to play. So that's what I've been doing for essentially 10 weeks, and installing mods in that game as well. You can add a lot of cosmetic mods and all kinds of things that make the game really fun. And it's up to you, whatever you want to install, of course. And I recently started doing that. I got Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC as well a couple days ago, and it took me essentially 2 full days, not full days, but 2 full evenings to just work on this shit to make all of this work, right? To make all of these mods work, because it's not as straightforward as like Resident Evil 4 mods. Like, it's pretty convoluted in a lot of ways, and it's not. It's fun now that it works. I managed to make everything work, and I'm trying to do a permadeath run as well. I didn't say that on Resident Evil 4, but I'm doing a permadeath professional, like 1.5 times enemies, 50% extra enemies, which essentially means you're getting 2.25 times extra enemies. So instead of running into one enemy, you're running into like between 2 to 3 per spawn. That is. I'm not doing that in Red Dead Redemption. I'm just doing a permadeath run with like certain other rules set in place, and mostly as cosmetic mods or mods that add more features and mechanics to the game. My aim isn't really good right now, but I feel like I'm a bit more into my talking in this one. Like, relay on here, it didn't take that long to losing match, but let's see if we can turn it around. We do have the Bishai, which is one of the most underrated guns, if not my favorite gun in the game. It's just so incredibly satisfying to use. And anyone that knows me or been watching my streams, you know that I've been using this gun for pretty much the entire year. I haven't been playing all too much recently, so my aim is a bit rusty right now, but that's all good. At least with this format, I can pretty much end the stream whenever I want to. But yeah, this is pretty much a stream where we talk about anything now, so...
Hey, pick me up. Have some of this. Oh, tough break.
There's no limitations of what I can do. Of course, like, I think swearing and stuff is something that YouTube doesn't really like, but... Oh, nasty.
That's how it's done.
Okay, Al Shabil. Well, should we do a lag switch there, or what? I don't know what he was in. Why is Sean Pierre climbing up here?
Payback's a bitch. Catch this. Not getting up from
Sorry, teammate. Shooting a dead body? Wow. This fighting his demons. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I enjoy playing this game. I enjoy streaming it. It's just... There's just so much missing, you know? Like, it's just... Playing this game makes you depressed, knowing what it could have been. Maybe if we're lucky one day, Naughty Dog sees this video and they're like, yeah, maybe we should reinvest in this game. Because, if anything... Sony's allergic to money. I mean, they don't want to make Bloodborne remake. They don't want to actually make Naughty Dog make Factors 2. They want to put like Red Dead Redemption 2 on PS5. Like, they want to remake Uncharted 4. Like, put that on PS5 either. Like, Naughty Dog and Sony clearly don't seem to really want to make money anymore. Like, like they're just making dumb decisions. Like, why flush $400 million down the toilet with Concord when you could work on existing titles and invest in them? I am 100% sure that investing money to make Factions 2 complete or work on Uncharted 4, restoring Uncharted 4 multiplayer to PS5, adding more content, stuff like that, reworking existing mechanics. I don't think that would cost them $400 million, but, you know, in 8 years. But what do I know? How did my grenade end up in the corner there? Thank you.
I feel better.
Wow. Love being down 3 times to the grenades. Well, this is the average late join experience. We're not winning this one. Strange that they're not really pushing either. Like, they kind of like seem to stay back a lot. Which is weird, given the fact that they're winning pretty overwhelmingly. Still likes his China Lake. Holy moly. I don't think I want to contest it, really. Bro, you're pushing me! Can I get my health back? Oh, he has another grenade? Got a grenade for every gunfight. Sheesh. I'm dead.
Woo, that's
I think.
down.
Ah, let me go.
I just want to hug.
Bro, they have so many China legs too. Oh, thank you. Very generous.
No, don't bother getting up.
No, come on. But this is the thing though, in Uncharted 4, like, it's just such a fluid game. Like, everything I did there, from like, you know, running, taking cover, jumping, rolling, like, just shooting mid-air into swimming underneath, like, it's just such a fluid game. Like, it just feels so good. Like, imagine a game, like, it had all the Uncharted 3 content in this, all the Uncharted 3 level co-op, like, not the same content, of course, but Well, let's say we had every single map that exists in Uncharted 3 in this game. Like Uncharted 2, 3 did for 2. Like we had co-op adventure, we had co-op arena, we had shade survival, we had all these things. We had 3-team deathmatch, free-for-all, like team objectives. Just imagine the possibilities with just an incredibly well-made baseline foundation. Like, it feels so good. It looks so good as well. Like this is one of these very few games out there that just ages like wine in terms of like the overall gameplay mechanics. Like the single player, I'm not a huge fan of that. I think it's pretty awfully paced and it feels a bit too slow at times. Like it's not as well driven as Uncharted 2 and 3 were. But and it's kind of like not that fun to replay either. But the multiplayer, it's just like there's just so much here, you know. It's just like we're right here, like we're on the verge of greatness. And it's really annoying because a lot of stuff that's missing is just content and overbalancing, like nerfing the crevasse, you know, nerfing sidekicks, say changing some mysticals work, adding new mysticals, stuff like that. Like running a battle royale, like you could have vehicles that you could drive. You can literally drive a car in Lost Legacy in the Madagascar section. You have a jet ski you can drive in Uncharted 1. There's a lot of things that they could add there. A train going around the map. Like they could literally do anything with the Uncharted 4 engine if the development team was there, you know? Like obviously they're probably not there now, but if the investment was there, Uncharted 4 could be one of the best, if not the best third-person shooter a game ever made. Obviously, Fortnite is always going to maintain the biggest there, but Fortnite is pretty big because of a different reasons. It's more of a social phenomenon now that people just like know more so than on like a legitimately strong contender for the best game. And it's like having a game like Uncharted 4, just being the front runner for like a third person shooter for the PlayStation market, like it would be huge. And yeah, this game maybe had 2,000 active players at this point, but just imagine if it had all the content Uncharted 3 did, that had constant moderation from the developers, like banning lag switches, improving netcode, network stability, just working on all of these things, maybe delivering a 60-player battle royale concept, or delivering is all the maps. Like imagine Uncharted 4 with these team objectives, with the old stuff, like you have team safe, like you can't get stun on grenades, for example. You have old weapons of the M9 and the G-Mod, you have Dragon Sniper. All of these things brought back, negative boosters, leveling up with the Uncharted 2, like no Roman numerals, just having a lot of stuff to grind for. Like imagine right now would come get some or invalid in this game, just getting a lot of cash you can then level up, and then people can see it next to your name. In this game, people can't even see your level here. We have 90 levels in this game. They didn't even go up to 100. Imagine if we had these 10 more Roman numeral letters that would all show up next to your name when you're leveling it up. Boom, you would have instant replayability. Imagine reworking the leaderboards. Like instead of having them, what this shit is, score per minute and time play, imagine having just maximum score, like how much score you have, how many kills you have, how much cash, how many kills you have, what your kill death ratio, which is win loss ratio. That's there. And instead of basing the top of the scoreboard on score per minute, you just, because obviously nobody's getting this score. It's obviously cheated. It's hacked. Like the number one guy is hacked. The other ones have all been boosting in their own lobby with their friends, like Q sniping each other essentially. Like this doesn't matter. This is dog shit. We know it's stuff like Uncharted 3. Remember Ibiza Twist. Remember Gloomcool. Like people that were known from Uncharted 2 and 3, like respectively for being at the top of the leaderboard, either for cash or for kills or whatever it may have been. Like I remember as a kid going through the Uncharted 2 leaderboards and looking at top players, just adding people that had over like a 4 KD or something. Like I remember getting to know certain players like that. Like my first experience with like one of my team members from Get Positive Nitro was from Uncharted 2. I did a 1v1 against him on Village, I think. And just because I saw someone at the top of the leaderboards, I added him and I asked him for 1v1 and he played it. I think we tied 16-16 or something. And I think back then I was like 14 years old. Like I positive memories from me, stuff like that. You don't get that anymore. Like there's nothing in Uncharted 4 that could really give you that experience. And having these leaderboards, having people being known from them, it would be more fun because people in the Uncharted community simply do not know who the best players are or who the most commendable players are. They just may know some people from like a certain Twitch scene or YouTube scene, and there's really no consensus of who the best players are outside of the scene that you're specifically in. Whereas in Uncharted 3, everyone would know Ibiza Twist, everyone would know Sergio Pro, The Legend 10, Gloom Cool. Everyone would know these people simply based on the leaderboards and the fact that they obviously were known from like other surfaces as well, other platforms. Like obviously, Triple Mech made YouTube videos with Nitro and Die and Tysmac. A lot of people know them that way, and OMG obviously made Sergio Pro pretty known as well. And unfortunately, a lot of them deleted their YouTube videos and stuff like that from that era, so you can't even find it anymore. It's a bit of a shame, really. And I also deleted a lot of my videos, not just from Uncharted 3, but also from 4. And I guess at this point that could be a mistake, but what can you do, really? I think a lot of people just like kind of regret like the more negative ways people have back in these games. Game's not starting, and I at the end of the day I understand there's a lot of toxicity here. There's a lot of stuff probably Naughty Dog doesn't want anything to do with, and there's a lot of crazy humans in these communities. But it's kind of what happens when you just let your community die, when you feed your game to the wolves and you just move on and you treat us like dog shit, like we never existed even. Try to like put us under or sweep us under the rug. It's just not. It's just no goodwill there, you know. It's all trash.
When I find a partner I like, I hang on to them.
And at the end of the day, it's. I've been saying that a lot now. At the end of the day, this could be so much more. And obviously, it's 8 years down the line now, and I think everyone kind of like understood, obviously, 8 years ago that Naughty Dog is gonna treat this game like shit. It's gonna treat the community like nothing. Like it's going to happen. Obviously, a lot of that had to do with the fact that Cogburn obviously got fired as well, or resigned. I'm not sure what the details is. They're semantics, essentially. And I'm assuming at some point he was the biggest contender for, or the biggest name for getting these multiplayer games to existence. Without him, we may have even gotten Uncharted 2 and 3. So I guess we got to be grateful for that. And playing this game nowadays, it's fun, but there's a lot of stuff. People just leave all the time. Like games don't start. They let you late on a lot of the games. If you're playing by yourself, of course. Thankfully, I haven't run into any speed glitch or lag switcher in this 30 minutes, but I guess that's pretty good. So, essentially, this video is just about anything and everything at this point. It's gonna be one of my regular streams of 3 hours condensed into 30 minutes, essentially, or an hour. We'll see how long it is. Later on relatively quickly this time. We're airing 2 Krivosks. The final fuck you of a Naughty Dog. They gave us the most broken gun in existence. 1 load up point, increased damage wobble, kills in 2 headshots at any range. That's a scope. Insane. Only gun that has every single possible benefit of a gun. And no downsides either. The strafe speed is a bit slower than other guns, but who really cares? When you kill as fast as that gun does. Strafe speed is the least of your concerns. I think someone's going on the flank. Nope. Don't die, Julio. And I'm not gonna spend this video talking too much. About too much about other players in the Uncharted community specifically, because we all know them. They're all full of shit. So there's a bunch of crybabies that leave every single game, and they come up with excuses and act like they're too good to play with these people. Like, you're playing this game in 2024, bro. Like, you're not better than anyone. Like, you stay in your games and stop crying. Like, it's really pathetic to me how many people just leave games in this. They don't even leave games. They leave games that they're winning just because they get down and taunted once, just like that. Like, it's just pathetic. Like, you can't keep up this attitude of being this, you know, this cool dude when you're just afraid of finishing a match in a video game. It's like when you act like you're too cool for the game when you're still playing it. It's just strange to me. Like you're still playing the game. You can't be acting like you're too much above it. Like I don't even have to mention names here because everyone knows what I'm talking about right away. And this shit is pathetic. Like you can't be playing this game for like 6 years and pretend like you don't give a shit about it and you don't care and you're too big and too good for it or whatever. Like, it's embarrassing to behave like this. Especially if you're an adult. Like if you're a kid, fine. But not if you're over fucking 25. Right? And I'm not pretending like I've never been toxic. Obviously, I know my experience, but I've never left games. I never really talk shit to my randoms. Like a lot of these guys will just straight up like call their teammates slurs, and it's just pathetic to me. Like you're playing a video game against with people that are probably not even people that are just stoned or drunk off their ass. Like, you can't just go around playing these games acting like you're, you know, I don't know. Acting like you're LeBron James when you're literally competing in the kindergarten league. You're like, you're the red Teletubby, you're not LeBron, bro. And also I gotta say this, the competitive mindset is not leaving every single match you're playing and coming up with excuses. The competitive mindset is getting better and performing better. If your team is not good off the car, you know what you do? You carry their ass. You make sure that you're winning the game for them because they cannot do it themselves. That is the competitive mindset. The competitive mindset is getting better and when you're faced with difficulties. Competitive mindset is not giving up. It's getting up and fighting again until you're better than that position. Like, and also, like, I made, like, plenty of, like, actual money from playing video games. Like, I know I said this before. It's not something I really bring up often, unless, of course, it's relevant to the discussion at hand. But, like, yeah, I did play games for money for a pretty long time. I played Fortnite, I played Warzone, Blackout, I played Warzone, I played regular Call of Duty, I played Apex.
I shut you down.
And, like, yeah, I made upwards to $100,000 in 3.5 years from playing games. I also coached Warzone for a while as well, which was, it was okay, but the company kind of fell apart due to, you know, the great, you know, tech bro bullshit of of that year, essentially.
Catch this.
Bro, I feel like I'm being shot by like 100 shotguns right now. Maybe I should be playing a bit smarter now. Maybe, unless we all die here, of course. Oh, no. Like, as I've been saying, sure, this was a late join, you know. Come on, Dank. We're not losing this. Let's go. Get up, bro. Careful, Dank. My fingers literally hurt from using this gun, but... No, don't die. No, you're all dead. Who's throwing the smoke grenades, man? You're losing. Unfortunate. Like, you know, see, if I had a competitive mindset there, I would have left the game and blamed my teammates for being shit. When in reality, no. I mean, I did late John, of course, but I could have done better. You know, I'm doing 9-4 here. Like, I would have won if I was 15-0, for example. And I know I can do it. I have the possibility to do so. You know, there's really no reason for me for blaming my teammates and leaving the game when I could have just done better. Like, look inwards. A competitive mindset is looking at yourself and thinking what you can do better and how you can become the best. It's not about saying that, oh, I am the best and everyone else is just worse than me and I'm going to leave because I'm too good for them. That's not the competitive mindset. That makes you a loser, bro. That makes you narcissistic. It makes you the complete and utter, like, opposite of what you're trying to preach. And I'm really sick of people in the world doing this, by the way, when they say one thing and do a completely different one, or they start blaming the other people for what the things that they're actually doing. And it's shit like this. It's just, like, pathetic to me. Like, and who can, like, any normal person can tell this right away. It's obvious behavior when people are just straight up projecting their own insecurities. Like, a lot of people can only draw inspiration from what they know. So they, like, oh, they know that they're selfish and mean to everyone. They're like, oh, yeah, that guy is selfish. He's mean to everyone. Like, it's so obvious for a lot of these people that there's nothing going on in their brains. Like, they can only draw inspiration from what they know. They know their own traits are bad, so they apply it to other people and pretend like, oh, I'm not like that. I'm not doing that for the same reasons. I'm like, yeah, you can say you're doing it for different reasons, but the thing is, yes, you can do two things. You can do the same thing with different reasons. Let's say, A, you're stream sniping, and let's say your reason behind this. Let's say one guy says, hey, I'm going to stream sniping because I just want to find some decent games. And the other people, they have a 5-man party, stream sniping with the sweatiest loadouts in the game, uploading that person to YouTube and calling them dog shit and trash or whatever. Like, I feel like there's a big difference here. And the average person should understand that the motivation of playing just because you want to play games is a bit more positive than the one of just trying to make someone mad and angry and try to upload them to YouTube or whatever. Like, that's a lot more malicious. And I can tell you that the competitive player, the actual competitive spirited person, that actually has the winner's mindset is the first person. The other people are people that may ride on other people's coattails. They may get lucky. They may know a cousin. They may be a Nepo baby. They may achieve things, sure, in life, simply because of the fact that they have one motivation and one motivation only, and that is for them to rise to the top and look like they're better than whoever they're fighting against. They have one singular motivation, and that's being better than everyone else. And if that motivation means, if they think that the best way to be better than someone else is making money, well, they're willing to step over everyone. They're willing to exploit every loophole. They're willing to scalp. They're willing to cheat. They're willing to do anything. And they will never take responsibility for anything. It's never their fault, right? It's like all these people that are being scammed from crypto, whatever. Someone is like, oh yeah, if you get scammed from crypto, you're stupid. Yeah, but you do realize that the people making money from crypto are the people that successfully scam other people. So your entire experience comes down to scamming people that are stupid, right? So saying that, oh yes, oh they're all just dumb. Yeah, well, what happens when it happens to you then? Like, oh yeah, you're not stupid, right? You're completely different. Like, no, you're exactly like them. It's just you have this imaginary superiority complex because it hasn't happened to you yet. And you see this a fucking lot. Like, people act like they're above everything until it happens to them. And then, oh, they're the first ones to be the victim. They're the first ones to claim that you're the oppressor and you're going after them and you're hurting them. Like, these people in the world are perpetual victims. They are always feel like everything is against them. They will never take responsibility, accountability. It's never their fault. It's always someone else's. There's always some reason. But when something is good and they're achieving the positive results, well, then it's because they're really smart and they're the best people, right? Until, of course, they aren't. Like, everyone believes they're the best player in the game until they aren't. Not everyone, of course, but these people do. A normal human being would be like, yeah, I'm going to play some Uncharted 4. I know I'm not the best player at it, and I'm not going to, lose my shit over that. But obviously, sometimes when you are a good player and other people call you shit for no reason, it's like, yeah, it's a bit strange, isn't it? Like a confident person doesn't need to prove themselves at every corner. A confident person already is. They've already proven their worth. Like, if you need 5 people to stream snipe to beat one person, I think that one person has already proven that they're that big of a threat, right? Like, it kind of proves itself. And it's not just people just want to stream snipe that person to bring them down to earth. Because if anything, that's probably going to have adverse effect. Because obviously, one person thinking that, oh, these guys are all getting the Avengers to beat me? I gotta be, Thanos or some shit. Like, it doesn't have that effect that people think it does either. Bro, we can't get in a game. I feel like I've been spending the past 40 minutes just talking, right? And at this point, we may not even do a last game stream. We just do a podcast stream. But yeah, it is what it is. And if you want to play Uncharted 3, again, you're very welcome to do so. It's going to be public release soon. It's currently in closed beta, but it's going to be open release in the beginning of next year. I think they postponed it a bit from 2024, but yeah. There's been some server issues, I think. That is doesn't really handle that many players, but I think it's doing pretty good. I'd say it probably has 60 active players currently, so, and that's in closed beta. And we've seen interest from at least 300 people, so we'll be seeing probably a relatively sizable audience from it. It's still doing a good game. It still has competitive players on it, casual players, and some changes are being made to make the game a bit more friendly for new players. So if you want these Uncharted 3 players that hated the fact that everyone ran Fleetfoot and M9 every single game 24/7, yeah, well, we're trying to make other options viable. Like, other weapons should be fine, other weapons boosters should be okay. I mean, we're not trying to take away the M9 Fleetfoot from anyone, but we're trying to make other things a bit more competitive or a little bit more fun to use, at least. So if you haven't played Uncharted 3, it's not going to be the same thing as it was when you left it. If you come back to it, it's going to be better in a lot of ways. More balance, more fun, more boosters, and just stuff like that in general. So I highly recommend playing it. And this is not just an ad. We're not making any profit from this whatsoever. This is just for the community exclusively. So we have plans to do the same thing in Uncharted 4 when it goes down. But we'll see how that goes, because Uncharted 4 custom games are ass. Because you cannot white plug in them. So if you're essentially playing the game on dial-up, you can run around killing everyone on the map without them even seeing you.
Drill, right?
Not something you can do when you can white plug, because, your network isn't allowed to be playing in that speed. Wow, let's play this. I'm going to try to make this exactly 1 hour, so probably play this match and then another one. I can't say I'm shooting very well here, but... Why is nobody peeking? Oh, he ran back. I promise you I'm better with the be shy than I am in these games. As you can see from my other YouTube videos. I just haven't played in a while, so it's just... There we go.
What goes up must go down. You deserved it. Ooh, got you, didn't I?
I'm also a big fan of like, not like games, not just games, but obviously music and I'm saying shows and movies, stuff like that. Like, Nosferatu just came out, and I heard really good things about it. I may watch it myself. I probably didn't pronounce it correctly there, but that's fine. And next year we're gonna get Andor Season 2. Andor is one of the, not the best Star Wars product since Empire Strikes Back. These guys love snipers. And Skeleton Crew is also ongoing. It's pretty good. I mean, I'm liking it a lot.
Hey, pay attention.
Obviously, early in this year we had Shogun, we had the Penguin, we had obviously House of the Dragon. We even have Rings of Power. Rings of Power and House of the Dragon Season 2 were pretty meh, but I think that's kind of to be expected at this point. They're serviceable, but this is really nothing worth watching. Like, some of them have like some things that are so bad they're good, but yeah, it's nothing to really write home about.
Send me a bill.
But Shogun, incredible show across the board. I'd say give it a 9 out of 10. The Penguin, it's been a nice speed glitch. Solid 9 out of 10 show. If you haven't watched it yet, you definitely should. It's like, personally, I like watching good movies and good shows. Like, I also watched Transformers 1 this year, which is really good. Like, they really, like, sold the backstory in general. Like, I don't know too much about Transformers in general, but they really made a lovable movie with really good characters across the board. And the plotline, sure, it may be simple enough, but it does it really well. The execution matters, and the animation is really good. Also believe Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse came out this year. It could have been last year. And we're gonna get a second movie as well, of course. And I think that was really good. I'm really looking forward to the second part. Obviously, as I'm playing middle of the game now, I'm not necessarily good at like articulating how I feel and what I think about these shows. Outside of saying that they're really good and I really like what they're doing. Like Shogun, the overall set design and costume design of that show is incredibly well made. Like, you can tell that the people who made that show really cared about it. And people that made the Penguin really care about, you know, trying to create like a different, new type of universe. And not just darker like the Zack Snyder universe when it's just dark for the sake of it. And there's like now they're actually developing these characters with traumatic past, traumatic histories that are very flawed and have very big psychological issues. Like, we saw the inside of Arkham in the Penguin, and that shit is fucking depressing. Like, like, nobody wants to be in that version of Arkham, I can tell you that much. And I really like what they did with that, you know, like it shows like something new, more grounded aspect of this. And that's kind of what I want of, like, now people aren't sick of really superhero movies. Like, a lot of people looking forward to obviously seeing the new Superman movie coming up. The trailer came out. Like, it didn't really say much about the story, but it looks good. It looks like one of these like more feel-good Superman movies, like that we're sorely missing. Like, I don't want some more like edgy bullshit, you know, like Man of Steel. Like, yeah, I know some people like this movie, but let's be real, they are edgy bullshit. Like, Zack Snyder likes edgy shit. That's it. And I don't want it to just be dark and edgy because of the fact that it can. Like, I don't want it to be edgy for what a 12-year-old thinks is edgy. Like, I think Zack Snyder is a really good like visual filmmaker, but when it comes to like the overall storylines and how he actually writes characters, it is very shallow and it's not always too believable. The Watchmen, I guess, will be like an example of something that actually did work. And I think Zack Snyder can be really good, but not by himself. Very few producers or directors have ever been able to do that. Like, we're talking Quentin Tarantino, Steven Spielberg, like Robert Zemeckis, and Martin Scorsese, etc. We're talking about people that can do the whole package, but there's not many of those, and Zack Snyder is definitely not on the same level. So it's really nice seeing James Gunn actually, after how good Peacemaker was and how good the Suicide Squad movie was, of course the Galaxy trilogy. Like I trust James Gunn with a lot of stuff right now. And I think, as I said, people aren't really sick of superhero movies. People are sick of bad superhero movies. People don't want to see mindless slop. They don't want AI intros like Secret Invasion. Like they want good stuff. People aren't just fatigued of this. They're fatigued of like subpar average stuff. And we had some really good stuff in Moon Knight. For example, Moon Knight has that one episode when they go through the backstory of how Mark and Steven became their own people, essentially. And that is really dark. And it's really well made as well. Like, it treats it with full respect. There's no joking. Like, it is traumatic. And Oscar Isaac is a tremendous actor. Like, he does an incredible job across the board with well, technically all three characters, but the two main characters. And it's really nice to see. And Falcon and the Winter Soldier also had like a really good episode, obviously, when they treat the concept of, you know, Captain America's replacement being dealt with like like an impossible thing to live up to. And he doesn't even have the super serum. Like, you end up in the position when he really wants to prove himself, but he's like a relatively mentally unstable person, and it kind of like culminates in this thing when he is like kills a civilian, not a civilian, but kills a person in broad daylight in the middle of the street. Which is obviously something that you shouldn't be doing if you're Captain America, and not something Captain America would do. I can't kill these guys, apparently. Ugh.
I am about to die.
That's my first death of the game, actually. And they had like that really was a cool episode. Like, it's very dark, and obviously they're not children's shows, but they do this stuff that is really good, and they treat it with a lot of respect. And they even have that scenario too, because he snaps, right? Because he snaps because his friend gets killed in action, I'm pretty sure. Like, his friend gets killed, like, I think, like, one of the main, like, Flag Smasher Berlin girls, like, she kicks him so hard that he, like, breaks his back or something, and he straight up dies, and that makes him snap and kill a guy in public. And that is really cool. I mean, cool, not just in a positive way, but in a sense that it's like, damn, they did that. That is serious. Like, that is something that we didn't expect them to do. But then it becomes really preachy towards the later episodes, and it kind of like loses that. And it's really unfortunate because Marvel tries to do these things that are really cool and really deep and serious, like these darker themes, but then they just never really follow through with it. And it's a bit unfortunate because they have really good source material, and it's really nice to see stuff like the Penguin really not shying away from that. You're gonna run me? Okay. Strange player. So it's really unfortunate that we're watching a lot of this other stuff, you know, like Secret Invasion. I don't even remember all the other shows that came out afterwards, or movies, honestly, but it hasn't been all too good from my recollection. Can I hit my headshots? Like, Jesus Christ. There we go.
Do
One,
this all day.
two.
How'd that taste?
We're gonna lose this match. Let's see if we can hit a cool shot. Never mind, there's nobody there. Everyone using a Bishai now? What's going on?
Jackass! Sit down, asshole.
Hitting a big whip. Well, I guess I'll run away. We got like 5 snipers on their team now. I guess I'll make some timestamps in the video as well. So,
Coming at you. A little time out for you.
getting the shots in now.
Not getting up from that.
Careful about mine, I should probably destroy it. I love when people throw nades. Wait, I got down by mine? What? Right. Okay. Guess there was another one there. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Also, Squid Game Season 2 came out, I think. I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Heard relatively good things about it, and I'm not one of these people that just like thinks that it only needed one season. I think as long as people know what they're doing and they want to make something else and they have a story to tell, I'd say let them have it. I'm not one of these people that's very elitist to these things. Like that's one of the reasons I like Andor so much, because it's trying to do something else, you know, like, oh yeah, it may not be traditional Star Wars, like good versus bad and Jedi versus Sith, but it doesn't have to be. Like, it has to tackle the arguably the most important aspect of Star Wars, which is obviously the rebellion versus the Empire. It's nice seeing it from the perspective of people on the ground. It's regular people that then eventually join the rebellion. Stuff like that is really cool. It's an adult topic, of course, and it has to deal with the political climate, because everyone knows that Star Wars, not everyone, but a lot of people should know that Star Wars is political at the end of the day. Like, the Empire is obviously an allegory for, you know, one of the biggest, fascist powerhouses of our time. Powerhouse sounds a bit positive in the list light. Obviously, it's a terrible part of our time. And I'm not going to get into the political stuff now that like I frequently do, but I think I'll keep this YouTube video out of that. But yeah, there's a lot of people out in the world that are really clueless when it comes to these things and treat history like absolute trash. Like, we're living in a future now where essentially anything can become anything. People like to treat everything like information is only up to the eye of the beholder, but like, no, there isn't. There are facts to things. Not everything is subjective. You cannot just say anything you want and pretend like it's true. Like, yeah, you have the right to say whatever you want, but that doesn't mean everyone needs to take you serious. And it doesn't mean that everything you're saying is true, or equally important as something that other people say. And I'm kind of sick of people just acting like their word is just as important as like a renowned scientist, stuff like that. It's like, no, it isn't. Global warming is real. Vaccines do work. World War II happened. Like, these are not controversial opinions. Like, genocide is bad. Like, these are not controversial opinions to hold. Like, you should just understand that this is how the world functions. Like, this is not someone trying to manipulate you. No, this is how the world functions. This is how science has gotten us here. This is why a lot of us are alive today. You don't want to get polio or measles or tetanus. Like, the reason we're not getting the tetanus when, you know, you get dirty is because of the fact that we have vaccines for that. You should not be against any of this. And this is not even a question of political scenario. Now we're talking humanitarian things here. Things like everyone should have basic needs met. Like, everyone should have the ability to live without the fear of death or oppression or political persecution. Everyone should have the ability to live their life without feeling that they're afraid because a political group is trying to villainize them and make them the demon so they can blame them. You know, there's a lot of people out in the world, a lot of very dumb people in the world that like to blame someone else all the time. And now we circle back to these people that have these psychological issues where they have cluster B personality types when everything is about them. They're always the best. They're always someone else's fault, right? These people all gravitate to blaming someone else. So of course, you're always going to have these people blaming, immigrants in certain scenarios and stuff like that. And it's really depressing when we're kind of living in this world. People just like really forget this empathy that we should have, this baseline respect that we should have with other human beings, regardless of their ethnicity or their, accent or their skin color. Shit like that is just fucking ridiculous. And the fact that we're living in 2024 and so many people in the world are being divisive and essentially acting like cavemen over all this shit is insane to me. Like, we should be more united than ever, but we're more divided than ever because we're living in this era where misinformation and disinformation and people spreading propaganda for their own personal gain, just grifting people to invest in their shitcoin on whatever it may be. They're using people as a way to amass more wealth for themselves and give no shit about the repercussions or the implications of the free world or people's actual minds and truth and logic, as opposed to just emotional manipulation. And the thing is, anger is an emotion, and if you're always blaming immigrants, you're always angry about the wokeness or whatever you want to say, you're an angry person and you are emotional. It's not the other people that are emotional, it's you. And that's something people really gotta realize, that you gotta fucking calm down. You gotta stop blaming things. You gotta see the humanity of these things. Like, maybe we shouldn't be supporting Israel's committing genocide and, systematic fucking ethnic cleansing of Muslims in Palestine and then eventually starting war with the entire Middle East at the backing of the United States as well. And then we get into the more political question there. And I'm not gonna get into that because then this video will be 3 hours long.
Very bad things.
But essentially, we shouldn't be supporting genocidal maniacs. We shouldn't be supporting Putin. Ukraine is defending themselves from a hostile occupation, a hostile takeover from someone that thinks the world is risk that he can play games with and just take over whatever place he wants and he just use to his own personal gain. He doesn't see Russians. He doesn't see Ukrainians as actual people. He sees them as some assets on a playboard that he can use to amass more wealth for himself. He doesn't give a shit about another human being. I don't think Putin sits down at home and watches TV at night. Like, no, he sits there and schemes about another political propaganda campaign, how to manipulate his own population or find out new weapons or manipulate people across the world, politicians that they have literally bought and pretty much inserted now. They pretty much bought the narrative. And then you get into the question of, Elon Musk and all of his bullshit antics, the absolute antithesis of free speech. The guy has no alignment whatsoever. Like, he will ban people for disagreeing with him. He will literally censor accounts, remove their Twitter premium benefits just because they disagree with him, which we're seeing a lot of right now. And he's always been up to that shit. He never give a shit about it. It's just something he lies to people about so people would think that he's actually doing it. When in reality, it's complete opposite. And we've seen enough evidence of this as it is. So we're at this point where people are losing more, but they're getting more angry. They're getting more pitched against each other, more divisive, and they're just fighting each other over shit that we shouldn't be fighting anyone over. Like, we cannot be in this place in history where everyone is just angry and blaming someone else and has no respect for the human values of any kind. They just want to take them away, strip them away. Like, basic needs, like, we need things like social security, healthcare. We need things like mental health reform. We need things that actually improve the life for the average human being. And not just make people die and fight over meaningless conflicts for no fucking reason. Because some bloodthirsty psychopath just wants to fucking fight people. Wants to kill people. They're not doing it for any good cause. They're not doing it for anything. Other than themselves, and they think that they are the ones that should inherit the world or whatever the fuck it may be. And these are not controversial opinions. There's no reason to ever think that Russia is doing anything but a hostile occupation, and Putin is doing this all for no reason. But obviously he's doing it for a reason, but no actual conceivable reason that makes sense. That could ever be justifiable, or ever be in a proper situation would be okay. Ukraine did literally not do anything to warrant this, and if you're one of these people, you're an idiot. Russia is and always will be an enemy because they are literally a far-right autocratic dictatorship. They don't give a shit about you. They only give a shit about whoever can run the country. But yeah, we're getting a bit too political here, so I'm gonna stray away from that and try to focus a bit more on this game. I think we're gonna make this the last one, so... Kind of killing the vibe, I guess. But yeah, we're pretty much, as I said earlier, I think we're pretty much condensed every single thing I usually cover in this stream, or this short stream video, that I would do anyway, so... it's a bit more of a condensed stream, you know? I don't think we've had any really good games or anything, but... I've honestly just kind of been playing, you know? It's been pretty chill. Like, I don't play this game if I don't stream it, really, so... This is essentially a little bit of a combination. But if there's one thing you want to take away from this, and at least this year, is that there's been a lot of shit going on this year, and start trying to be nicer to people next year, at least people that deserve it. You shouldn't always try to start shit with everyone, and I know this applies to me as well. Someone ever wants to come to my stream and be like, oh yes, but after you're also toxic racist. Like, no, I mean, I can be toxic, but I don't hold racist values. When I was younger, yeah, I did, but this is part of growing up. Growing up is, you know, realizing that maybe the shit that you're saying is dumb. Maybe realizing that you are wrong. Maybe realizing that saying these things may be pretty dumb. Personally, I don't really hold any racist values because I don't think it's right to ever judge anyone based on things outside of their own control. Things you can control, though, you can control not being a racist piece of shit. Going out there saying the most racist slur you can find doesn't make you a cool, badass dude that's for free speech or being anti-woke. No, it just simply makes you an asshole.
Game is up for you. That day.
I said questionable things in the past, but you also got to consider the fact that 8 years ago I was a very different person. It was a very different time in history. That doesn't mean it's okay. Just like saying that, oh, things were okay like, oh, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. It doesn't mean it was okay then. It just means that people accepted it. Just like today,
Shut you down.
being really racist 50 years ago was not okay then. It was just something that people didn't really, like, mind as much. Of course, the people that were affected by racism were probably very affected by it. This is not a question of society going soft. This is a question of actual human development. Times have been pretty bad historically for certain demographics, like women or Jews or, you know, people of pretty much any cultural situation. Like, I'm sure the people back in the day that were the victims of the Christian Crusades probably weren't too happy with that. And yeah, we can get into all, like, misogyny, the whole manosphere bullshit as well. And the thing is, if you want these misogynistic men, you're a weirdo. You know what women are? Women are just normal human beings. You know what normal human beings like? They like when you treat them like human beings. It's really that simple. If you treat a woman differently than you treat a man, well, if it's positive, I guess that's one thing. But if it's negative, like, yeah, you're probably misogynist. Like, women are not dumber. Women do not lack things that men have. Yes, I mean, physically, yes, of course. Like, that speaks for itself. But outside of that, in the brain, there's no big difference there. A woman can be just as smart as a man, and a woman can be just as dumb as a man, and vice versa. Like, this is not a white knight woke speech or whatever. No, this is at least like a normal human being. If you've ever met a normal human being in real life, they do not hold any misogynistic or derogatory conservative values towards women. Oh my god, I got killed in 2 bullets. So, if you ever find yourself being really racist or misogynist or having insane political opinions like, oh, global warming isn't real or whatever, look in the mirror. Like, look in the mirror. Think about what you're saying here. Do you actually believe these things? And in that case, why? Do you believe it because you came to this conclusion yourself independently? Or do you believe it because other people told you to believe this, like on TikTok or Instagram, whatever it may be? Bro, it's got the easiest headshot ever. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, nobody is really entirely an independent thinker, because the way you think is obviously clearly either designed by the media that you actually listen to, or it's stuff that you literally been brought up thinking. Like racism and like hatred towards minorities is a taught behavior. It's not inherent to people to hate, you know, people that have a different skin color than them. That's not an inherent trait that humans have. This is taught. So when people say that they're an independent thinker, like, no, you're not. Like, most of the opinions that you hold, I think that you either been taught or been raised or that have been developed based on information around you. Like, I learn English. Like, I'm not an independent English learner. No, I learned it from watching shows, watching movies, playing games, actively speaking, actively writing. Like, that's kind of how it functions in the real world. You learn things by doing them. Or listening to other people that know what they're talking about, and not just people that are saying something that you already agree with. If you go on the internet and you only listen to what people, and find stuff that people already saying that you agree with, well, are you really a free thinker? No, you're priming your brain into finding information that already agrees with you. And at the end of the day, are you really a free thinker if a lot of the information you're getting is literally like information you've been taught that you're then getting biased, you're then getting it all reinforced by this information, but despite the fact that it may or may not be true? Like, no. This is why it's very important that we listen to vetted sources, like actual scientists, actual people that know things, genuine people that aren't lying and manipulating you for their own profit, not grifters, but people like your parents that generally have your best outlook in mind. You shouldn't you shouldn't be listening to some random bald grifter on the internet telling you to go to the gym to, improve your physical stature. No, your parents already know that hey, getting exercise is pretty good, and I can tell you, your parents probably always wanted you to go to the gym and be healthy. No parent ever is gonna be like, oh, why are you doing that? That's stupid. Like, no, listen to the people that actually have your best intentions in mind. People on the internet that grift you and tell you that the immigrants are the problems and whatever, or that wokeness is the issue. They don't have your best interest in mind. They're literally spreading misinformation and propaganda on the internet to make people emotional to the point that they will click on their videos and make money that way. They don't give a shit about you or anything that you think or believe in. They only want to make money for themselves personally or influence for themselves personally. This is the thing. You gotta listen to the right people, not just the people that can get you the attention. Because it's a lot harder to garner positive attention than negative attention. Negative attention, you can attack people, you can make shit up and whatever, do whatever you want. Whereas making positive influence generally means that you need to actually create some positive stuff. You need to say nice things. You need to be nice to people. You need to encourage things. You can't just say, "Oh, these people are the worst." Like, no, sometimes it takes a lot. Like strength. Strength is being kind. That's it. Like, strength is asking for help. You're not a strong, weak person if you ask someone else for help. Sometimes you just need to. Sometimes you gotta go over your own pride. Like it's more than that. It's deeper than that. So, like, kindness is strength, and it's also like a feature or trait that's very rarely seen in people anymore. People are so angry nowadays, and it's like this type of negativity that's just pointless anger directed at nothing or made up like fairy tale boogeymen. It's so much. Like, I've essentially had cut contact with my father because like he just listens to all these like conspiracy theory nonsense and he just keep repeating it over and over again. Like, it's no end to it. It's just constant anger over things that are completely irrelevant. And there's so many people like this in the world. Like, you go out and you meet a new person and you'll be like, oh yes, like, what do you think about this movie? It's like, oh, I think the immigrants are ruining our country. It's like, come on, man. Like, it's exhausting, like, how do you even find new people nowadays that are normal? Like, how do you find, like, if you're a woman, how do you find a guy out there that isn't like indoctrinated by the TikTok manosphere and holds some weird misogynistic opinions and some kind of fucking bullshit? Like how hard can it be nowadays? Like, there's just so much pointless negativity in the world. And negativity has a place when it's about making things better or when it's holding people accountable or things accountable and trying to improve them. That is what that's when negativity matters. Not blaming something completely unrelated. Negativity, good negativity is saying that, yeah, Putin is a piece of shit and he shouldn't be invading Ukraine for any reason whatsoever because it's not his country. He has no reason to be there. Like, we're not in World War II Germany. Like, you are not going into a different country and trying to overtake it and clear its population of human beings. That is insane. And this, like, that is pointless negativity, what he is doing. But mentioning and holding these people accountable for this thing is warranted negativity. You need to talk about it. You can't just look the other way and pretend like, oh yeah, none of this ever happened. Let's go. We're getting Heroes and River for the last match. It's gonna be the last match of the year, and I don't know, last match for a while. Because I'm really enjoying Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm really enjoying Resident Evil 4 Remake. Like, I'm kind of getting into my variety streamer phase, and I'm enjoying it. I'm not streaming for attention. I'm not streaming for viewership. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. That's the thing. Like, we need more of that in the world. We need more people doing things that they actually enjoy, just because they do. Not everything has to be an investment to make something back. Not everything has to lead to blowing up as a streamer. Like, sometimes you just do this shit for fun. Like, I'm not streaming Uncharted 4 to be the biggest streamer in the world. Why would I? And why the hell would I be in Uncharted 4 if I am? I'm clearly doing it because I enjoy it. So people acting like they're too cool to stream and, oh, I don't give a shit about this game. Like, you're full of shit. Just admit that you like playing the game. You don't lose anything by that. Having this attitude is shit like a 13-year-old thinks is cool. Being like, oh, I'm 13. I think it's cool to hate on everything. Like, hating everything is not a personality trait. Acting like you don't care about anything is not a personality trait. It makes you look like an incredibly uninteresting, boring person. It's attractive to care about things. It's attractive to have good opinions about things.
Bunch of ways we could do
All right, let's go. Final match. if you get some good games in here, a good match in here. God, this game is so beautiful. Like, just look at the animation work and look at the animation work and just it's just it's a lot of Krivosks, I feel. Like, just like look at the game, you know, like look at this animation. Obviously now I fell into the mudslide, but they on the mudslide, climbing up here, sliding, jumping. Like, you cannot find a game that looks more slick than this. Like Red Dead Redemption 2, incredible animation work, but there's a lot of jank. It feels very bad to play sometimes. Man, it's still here. Oh, yeah. I got hit by the one. I don't know what to say, to be honest. Hit by the taco tortilla, alright. And also, if you don't know, like I am actually like a Native American. Like, I'm not. Like, I was born and raised in Sweden, of course, but my mom was adopted from Ecuador, from like an indigenous tribe, essentially. And so I'm technically like native Hispanic. So you think that I'm like a full Swede or whatever, like, oh, I can't talk about like Latinos, whatever, like, sure, maybe I can't, but at the same time, I've been to Ecuador, so, for a long time. And visually, I fit right at home there. What the hell?
Why is no one helping me? I got dropped. Don't worry.
So I'm not one of these people that has like no ethnicity in my blood, if you want to say that. Obviously, being a Caucasian Swedish person would be an ethnicity as well, but I'm not some regular white dude, if that's what you're thinking.
Just pitching in.
And it's also a lot of like this, like, I mean, obviously when I used to play Uncharted 4 back in the day, I used to get a lot of like insane hate messages too. Like, I had the people sending me like N words and telling me to kill myself, and just calling, saying, "Oh, you have no life, you ugly," like whatever slur, whatever it may be. And like, I had literally people like that, people that you wouldn't know in this community as well, that was like literally going after my mother's Instagram and finding childhood pictures of me and making fun of me like in Facebook groups. And I've had people in the community be like, "Oh yeah, but that guy was nice to me." It's like, what do you mean that was the guy's nice? There's a line you don't cross, bro. You don't fucking start posting pictures of someone's childhood pictures on Facebook and act like, "Oh yeah, it's cool because he was nice to me." What are you talking about? Like, what kind of person are you if you don't uphold a single standard of any kind? You cannot allow people to do this shit. Like, it's insane to me. And this is also what I mean with earlier when I said you gotta hold people accountable for their actions. Like, if you think that someone else can't do anything, if your friend does that, well, you should hold them accountable for it. That's what I want in my life. I want people in my life that hold me accountable for the things that I say and do. That's what real friends do. Real friends don't just enable you to be a toxic asshole. Real friends say, "Hey, what are you doing?" That's fucking weird, dude. You want friends that you can trust to not just enable you, nice people.
Holy shit!
Bro, I'm having no fun right now.
Damn it, hurry!
Okay.
Thanks. What goes up?
My gameplay is straight up ass. I gotta say, in this little stream. Well, at least I'm having fun. And as I said earlier, do things that you enjoy. Like, if I don't play this game, it's because I'm not enjoying it at the time. That gun is balanced. 5 health. Thank you.
Hey, thanks.
Krivosky is one of the biggest issues with this game. It's not fun to play against. And that's one of the things with this game. Like, the Krivosky is like, it's just not It's just like it sounds annoying. It's annoying to play against. Bro, these guys just sitting in cover and blind firing, man. Great game to go out on, and then this guy is staring into the wall. Yeah, well. I guess I'll make timestamps for this video later and just be like, here's the political section, here's the movie section, or whatever it may be.
Bringing on the heartbreak here, kids.
Get up! What? Get up! No! Queensland. The mudslide itself is a relatively like redundant mechanic, but it's also weird to me that you have like you get like in Uncharted 2 you usually get snow on your clothes, but in this game you don't. But you do get mud when you go through the mudslide. It's also like a detail I feel like old Naughty Dog probably wouldn't have missed. Whoa! I actually hit that. No aim assist headshot too. Not even like an icon.
Hey, I helped.
That's beautiful. Fortunately, they're all leaving again, you know. Brings it back to this issue of 5v1, but... oh well. But, thanks for watching, everyone. Everyone. If you enjoyed this stream / video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to it. It's not like I do necessarily much of this stuff, but... And I'm not really a traditional content creator that actually, like, actively makes things. I'm more of a... I just upload whatever I want at the moment, pretty much.
Coming at you.
But as I said earlier, do what you want to do. It's not about, you don't have to do everything for someone else. Try to make content for other people. Like, sometimes it's fun just doing what you want to do. And also, if you want to ever make it as a content creator, you kind of have to do what you like. People don't want to watch this person that's only doing what they're doing because they're being paid to or being told to do it. People like people like doing things that they like doing, and then like watching people that do things that they like doing. I don't know what I'm saying right now, honestly, but yeah. People want to watch people that are enjoying something. People ultimately like the positivity that they get from a stream. But some streams, sometimes you gotta tackle the real topics. And sometimes it's good to talk about these things, and that's how you really meet the people that matter. By talking about things you either do care about, or things that you care about in a positive or negative fashion.
Down they go. Got one. I'm down. You're welcome. Much appreciated.
You don't meet real people that you can actually connect to if you never make it known who you are. It's not that people don't understand you, it's also the fact that sometimes people don't make themselves understood. If you don't try to connect with other people and try to share your opinions and what you like and you don't like, but that relatively normal balance, well, you're not going to find other people on the same level. Intellectual compatibility is a big deal. You cannot connect with everyone. You cannot talk with everyone. Well, obviously you can talk with them, but connect and feel like they actually understand what you're saying. Or you feel like you actually understand what they're saying, too. It does matter. Like, it's not always about other people. A lot of times it's you that's the problem. Sometimes it isn't, though. But that's kind of the thing of... The more you ought to know yourself or other people in the world, the better you get to knowing these things, the more a functional human you're gonna be, and the happier you'll probably be. If you go around and you just spout incessant negativity all the time, without ever explaining why you think this or anything like that, yeah, well, people are just gonna think you're a negative asshole. And even I have a lot of people thinking I'm a negative asshole, because sometimes I complain a lot and say negative things a lot, but generally it's because I want things to be better. Like, I always have a way of explaining why I don't like something and how I think it could be better. It's not just pointless hatred for things. Sometimes I guess I pointlessly complain because nothing is gonna change either way. But the thing is, if you have that opinion, that's fine. That's fine. if you had an opinion that you shouldn't talk about anything, but the reason I have such healthy friendships and relationships throughout my life is because of the fact that I don't shy away from who I am. I always talk about what I think, who I am, what I like doing. I like streaming, I like playing games. Pretty good at these games. And
So there's no I in team, but there's
good game.
definitely one in win.
So it's like you gotta make yourself known, even if some people disagree with you and don't like you. Inevitably you're gonna find the people that do matter to you that you can connect to, and in order to bring more positivity, like generally into the world, like try to be nicer to people. Try to make your positive traits more known, and if anything, make your negative traits more known as well. But try to like show them in a way that why you think in this way and how it is. Like it's attractive to care. People in the world like people that care, and now more than ever, it's more important to show that you have some positive emotions about things and you're not indifferent to everything or you hate everything. Now more than ever, it's important that you actually try to push these positive emotions that you have within you, and the positive emotions you have within you, and things that you want to be better, and the things that you think you can do better. There's obviously some people think that it's not even worth talking about things that you cannot improve or change. Sure, but that doesn't really lead anywhere. Talking about these things at least may lead to action. Avoiding them altogether will never lead to action. It will never lead to connecting with anyone that holds similar opinions. And I understand why people don't want to have like political discourse, and even I shy away from it as well, because it can lead to a lot of negativity and a lot of like really pointless negativity from other people that want to just attack you and call you an idiot or whatever for having different political opinions. And obviously, I'm in a similar situation there as well. A lot of times, I call other people idiots for having dumb political opinions. And I'm not going to say that I'm always right, of course. But that's the thing of being a grown up. You know, you should normalize changing your opinion or presenting with new information. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching this video slash stream. And it's been a lot of stuff in this stream. I've been talking about pretty much everything. We've condensed pretty much a 3-4 hour stream into 1.5 hours because we haven't interacted with anyone else like that. We haven't had any insane games, anything like that. But I think we had a good. I think I had a pretty good time at least. And you want to call me a loser? You're gonna call me the bigot, the toxic, or whatever. It's fine. You know, like you're allowed to think that. But if you don't know why I'm saying these things and you don't really understand like how my brain functions, and then we're probably not gonna understand each other, and that's fine. You cannot be friends with everyone. I'm not just saying this as a throwaway line because being like, oh, I'm not perfect. Like, no, I'm not, but I've explained why generally as well and how I think and feel. And it's not just me saying these things to get away with all critique and nobody can say anything back to me. Like, no, there's warranted critique. You should listen to what other people have to say, but you shouldn't always let it change your opinion or change your mind. It's important to listen, but that doesn't mean that to affect your every single action. You cannot act on everything you hear and think. There's more to the life. There's more to life than what you think about things as well. There are a bigger picture in the world, and other people's lives matter as well. And to them, they matter more than you, most likely. So care about things. Try to be a better person. Thank you so much for watching this short little video, and I hope you guys have a good. I hope you guys had a good Christmas. I hope you guys can have a good New Year's Eve, and I hope you guys have a good 2025. If I don't stream Uncharted 5 or Uncharted 4 for a while, or even in the next entire year, who knows? Well, it's nice having you here. It's nice. It's nice playing this game occasionally. I wish it was more, and I hope the Naughty Dog returns to it, and at least allows me to some extent to have some development scheme in it, outside of just waiting for the game to be shut down until we bring it back alive and reloaded again. And but we'll see where it goes. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good rest of your life. Bye.